for the people that actually organize it. 3 more weeks. Oh my God, so fast. Before you know, you're all going to become parents. You get married, you're an old man. Anyways, guys, one of the things that I wanted to share with everybody, this of charity actually talks about the holidays, what our obligations are during the holidays, especially in times of the temple. Then in the middle talks about actually giving charity. In the olden days, it wasn't only giving with money. People that had fields, they have to put like 1/60th of the field for the poor people. Now say not just giving from the money. These days doesn't apply that much because these laws only apply to the land of Israel, times of the temple. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit about charity. Number one, what's the outlook? Why do we really believe in giving so much charity to other people? And actually, we live in a country, United States is probably one of the most generous countries in the world, right? To such an extent that people complain, why do you help other countries? Help the homeless here. But obviously, you're not just, I'm not here to criticize or say right or wrong. But the idea that you have to help others, it's something that we grow up with in this country. There are so many organizations that the only purpose is if you have poor people, if people are in need, somehow we have to help them. So actually, it's part of our DNA. Thank God for being raised in the United States and actually helping the entire world. So why do we believe in that? So there's actually one of the concepts, that the Bible teaches us. Whatever we have is a blessing from God. Really, God could take care of many people. He doesn't need us to help others. The only thing is that God wanted us to be partners with Him. He could have done everything Himself, but He wanted to have some partners. And He actually chose every single one of us as human beings that we could make the world a better world. And when we make the world a better world because we're actually fulfilling the mission that God has, we become partners with Him. To such an extent, that the Bible tells us all the money that we make, not everything of it is ours. God trusts us and He gives us more than what we need. Most of it is ours, yes. Like it says in the Bible, don't give more than 10% charity. You want to give maximum, don't give more than 20%. You keep 80% for yourself, otherwise you're going to be needing yourself. You're going to be needy yourself. But from the fact that the Bible obligates us to give 10% on the profits or 20%, it teaches us that really God trusts us to make like a bank, trustworthy bank, that we could give the money to other people. Now, there are many, many levels in charity. The highest level that is possible is the person doesn't know who is giving the money to, and the receiver doesn't know who's he receiving it from. Now, it's almost impossible to do such thing. How could you give the money and you don't know who you're giving it to? Or how does the guy doesn't know who's he receiving it from? So that's actually most of the organizations, that they take money, you guys are the givers, you don't know who you're giving it to. And the person who's receiving it, he has no idea who's receiving it from. He knows the organization is giving, but the people he doesn't know. Now, why is it really that important that we don't know who we give the money to? Or the people don't know who they're receiving it from? For the receiver is that he shouldn't be embarrassed, not to feel indebted. If I'm going to come to a guy and give him money every single day, so every time he sees me, he's embarrassed. I'm the one that helped him. So to save the embarrassment, they always encourage that the person that receives doesn't know who it is. And then also, when we don't know who we're giving it to, we don't actually expect to be praised because we know where the money has gone to. So it's a very, very important thing to know that even let's say we are in situations that we can't hide ourselves, but the way we give the money, by the way, is that we don't make the guy feel bad. Very interesting point in the Talmud, that the Talmud says, that's the oral law. When you give charity to a person, you get 6 blessings. If you give encouraging words, you don't make him feel bad. Here, take the money and get away. You don't act like that. You're actually giving encouraging words, you get another 11 blessings, total 17. So which one is more important? The actual giving or the fact that you make him feel good? Making him feel good is much better. Why is that? Because the money that we give can only, satiate his hunger for an hour or two. But when you give an encouraging word, it could actually change his life to the better. It's interesting point, very, very, very important point that we learn. I don't want to take too much of your time, but it actually says if you do give charity to others at a time that God forbid we might be in need, God will send the help for us too. Our rabbis always tell us that nobody ever became poor by the act of charity. Another interesting point, and I'm going to finish after that. We believe that when the new year comes, I'm talking about Rosh Hashanah. So God decides how much money we're going to make the entire year. Even if you work 10 times harder, you don't make a cent more than what God decided. There's a few exceptions. One of them is the concept of charity. If we give money, that's not deducted from the money that we make at the God decides that we make in the beginning of the year. Actually, God gives us more. The other one is actually if you give Jewish education to the children. You get them teachers to teach them the Torah. And the other one is when we spend money for Sabbath and the holidays. But the first thing that the Talmud says, the more charity you give, the more money you make. Very interesting point. Don't feel that you're losing money. Hopefully, when you guys will grow up and they become what do you call it? What's the word? Philanthropist. Forgive my English. You make a lot of money. Don't feel that you're going to lose by helping other people that are in need. You actually will make more money. And if God forbid one day we're in need, God is going to be there to save us.